1. 2 years ago, I worked at a hotel that was so isolated from the community, only old people went there. So this couple were international guests and had that "our country is richer than yours and I'm better than you because you're a waiter" attitude going on. Annoyed me to no end. Our hotel had a special menu every day from a different country. So we basically had 7 boards at the back with those menus. Tuesdays were Indian food. One Tuesday evening, the couple comes in, and they are seated in my section. They order the special, and I inform them that it will be a bit longer, because I also had a table of 12 that ordered the exact same thing, not to mention other sections. They say it's fine, they will wait. Awesome. Their food gets to them, and they eat everything. Of course, I popped up and asked if their meal was fine. They say the food is perfect. I'm happy to hear that. After the main meal, I clear up their table and ask them if they want the dessert menu. They say yes, and I bring it to them. I can still remember what they ordered: an amarula pilaf and white chocolate ganache. They finish up, and I ask them if they want any tea and petit four. They say no and ask for the bill. I leave them my pen because I assume they're just going to charge it to their room. A minute later, I come back and ask if they need a card machine and all that. That's where it got amusing for some of us. The missus decides to take charge and tell me that they will not be paying for the mains, because the pieces of meat in the soup were too big for a soup. Only 4 pieces in the bowl and really spicy. What? I ask what they mean, and they repeat the very same thing. I tell them I can't do anything about it now because they already ate all the evidence, and told me that everything was fine throughout the whole dinner. They say that's not true and that they will not be paying. So naturally, I go and inform duty supervisor, who is my hero, because this woman doesn't take crap from anyone. After 20 minutes of arguing, they take their things and leave. My hero takes a card machine and follows them. I laugh and continue on because I still had tables, and I also had to clear up theirs and reset it. Not even 5 minutes later, my hero walks in with a receipt that not only shows that the bill was paid in full, but a 20% tip was also charged. They never try to pull anything else for the rest of their stay. 2. So I'm not actually a server, I'm a hostess. However, my job is a lot more complicated than you'd think. At my workplace, not only am I in charge of taking people to seat, I have to manage multiple hour waits, bus tables, occasionally run food, clean, and so much more. And when we're on those long waits, it's especially frustrating when we get call-aheads. If you don't know what a call-ahead is, it's a shitty system that some restaurants put in place that lets you put in a reservation without it actually being a reservation. It doesn't really guarantee anything, but it essentially lets us know when you're arriving. And we tell this to people all the time. Honestly, I've been on the phone with customers arguing about this for multiple minutes on end, when I'm supposed to be bussing or managing the front or literally anything else. The most frustrating part is when we get parties larger than 6 who want to sit at a table at a certain time, right around dinner. Since it's first come, first served, technically, even though call-aheads are added a little bit higher on the waiting list, it really doesn't benefit you, other than, hey, we know you're coming so we can kind of plan. But when dinner comes around, there's really not much we can do. The day of this event is your typical normal Sunday, nothing super special. But we get mad dinner rushes because we're a steak place. I can't say which one, but it's a really popular one for good steak. Honestly, I love my job until I get a call saying I have 18 people that need to be sat at 6:30 p.m. and we need a table as soon as we get there. Obviously, this is not going to happen. We have tons of booths that seat 4 people, and most of them are for around this time. We have high top tables that seat up to 6, 8 if you squeeze, and a few other tables that can be pushed together if necessary. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. So as soon as I get that call, I'm thinking, oh hell, how the fuck am I going to sit 18 people in this tiny little space? I can't deny customers seats when they're already here, so I kinda have to wait till the party gets there to seat them, or really find a place. Now, being the leader who kind of runs the show, I'm usually able to plan ahead and find a section that will work. And since we work with computers, they have a timer saying how long people have been there. This allows me to know what tables are going to be available for what servers, so I can plan this kind of thing. But 8 people take up a lot of tables on one side of a restaurant, and then nobody wants to sit by them. Well, 6:30 rolls around and a big group of people start to arrive. And diving through the front of the crowd, you guessed it, Karen.
Hi, this is Karen. We had a reservation for 6:30 for 8.
Yes, I see that I've got you on my list. I will add you to the waiting list now. It'll put you a little higher up because you called ahead. But know that I will have to seat smaller parties ahead of you, and I'm waiting on some tables to clear. It could be from 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how long those tables decide to stay. Now, this isn't word for word, but you get the gist. She demanded to know why I wouldn't seat her party immediately, that she had a reservation. Even though, as I explain to every customer that calls, we don't take reservations, it just helps us plan ahead, and possibly shorten your wait time when you do get here. I just check people in, and the computer does that for me. Karen, grunting, returns to her family and discusses the situation. At this point, dinner rush is in full swing. I've got 5 people on my team, 2 of which are pretty much useless. Mostly because one is high on crack most of the time and the other is new. So I've got my partners seating tables, and helping me manage the front. There are tons and tons of people coming in the lobby and stuffed to the brim. After I pry my busy eyes away from my last customer, I hear a commotion coming from the back of the restaurant. Karen had decided to scope out tables for herself.
Look at all these clean, empty booths.
They hadn't been wiped.
Look at this table, it's open.
Yes, ma'am, the table is open, but it only seats 6 people. Normally, I would be able to pull the table next to it to create one large group seat, but unfortunately, we have other customers there already. And now the words we've been waiting to hear.
Get me your manager!
At this point, she was practically screaming. The whole restaurant was staring at her, making faces and clearly uncomfortable. So I apologized to the people in front, and I asked one of the bussers to come up and watch the front for a moment while I go and get the manager. The funny thing is, I had to call up the busser who is putting the tables together and bussing the table that we were going to use for her. The previous party had left pretty quickly. But now I didn't have a busser because I needed someone to watch the front. So this lady gives a big stink to my manager and demands to know why she wasn't able to sit in her reserved seat. My manager, having my back, also noticed that we were setting up her table, took her over there and showed her the table. Still wasn't good enough. She demanded free food and wanted appetizers for the whole party, and she wanted them comped. My manager, being a really nice guy and not wanting to lose business, agreed. This lady looked at me with this childish grin on her face. She looked like she had won some victorious battle, when she would have been seated a lot faster if she had just waited the 2 minutes it would take to bus the table, instead of taking an extra 10 for the ordeal of going to get the manager. Honestly, I think the lady just wanted free food. And the party did not tip. The bill was over $200. Since I work on tip share, I got kind of lowballed that night when I took all my tips. Fuck you, ladies, some of us are just trying to make an honest living. We have to pay out of our pockets to serve you who's being a jerk to us the entire time. I was almost disappointed they had such a nice waitress, because I would love to see her spit in her food. Obviously, we can't do that, because it's a serious health hazard. But a girl can dream. 3. I am a waiter working at the second best Catalonian restaurant in Barcelona. Once we had a table of 7 Karens, all about 60 or 70 years old. They were incredibly rude and demanding from the very start. We served daily menu. Every time they wanted something, they'd go, "Hey, are you going to serve us, boy?" or something similar. The restaurant was completely full, and they were ordering drinks one by one, making me do a lot of trips. It was okay, we are used to the occasional scumbag table. Now, the restaurant is at the historic zone of Barcelona, and it is a dangerous zone, and the hags demanded the table next to the door, the second best table of the restaurant. They proceeded to leave their bags on the floor next to the door. You can guess it. Some random dude passing by saw it and apparently sneaked a hand inside and took a bag. Now, the bar, where I was at the moment, is right in front of the table, and as I was drying some glasses, the most toxic of the pack comes to the bar screaming,
"Hey boy, are you going to do anything?"
Now, I am a person that responds very negatively to these kind of disrespects, but I knew the table was composed of Karens, so I was ready. Nevertheless, I looked in disbelief for a moment as I had no clue what was going on. "I'm sorry, what's the problem?"
"Can't you see we were robbed?"
What?
Are you going to do anything?
I'm sorry, what happened? Could you please explain?
Someone stole a handbag from our table.
When? I'm right in front of the door and I did not see anyone rob you.
We were mugged. Are you going to do your job?
I'm sorry, my job?
Aren't you going to get them?
What?
Do your job.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I feel for you. Do you need me to call the police?
What? Catch the thief. Do your job.
Listen, lady. I'm sorry you got mugged. I can do you the favor and call the police.
This is unacceptable. We are eating at your restaurant. It is your responsibility.
Ma'am, I am not. Call the police. Please.
How dare you? Call the owner immediately.
The owner comes and lets them know that it is their fault they decided to leave the bags unattended and to stop screaming. If you think Karen was flipping, you wait. After the owner comes back to his table to finish his meal, Karen informs me that the meal is complimentary since the stolen amount is equal to the bill they are going to pay. The bill was €7 more than the supposed amount stolen. At this point, my brain shuts down. Listen here, hag. Since you arrived, you have been incredibly rude and demanding as if this was a $200 per head restaurant. You can sit the flying fuck down and stop bothering the other 50 people dining and call the police. It is not our fault you decided to leave your handbag near a glass door in the middle of the most dangerous neighborhood in the city.
This is unacceptable. I will make an official complaint. It is your responsibility. I will take this to social media and let everyone know what you did.
An official complaint? To what? The dumbest fuck organization? Her face was priceless, but you know Karen, she was unabated.
How dare you? I'm going to get you fired if you don't make the meal complimentary. I'm going on Facebook and destroy your business.
Ma'am, with all due respect, the only thing you can destroy is my brain cells with your screeching. Now sit down and finish your food or else I'm bringing the bill and calling the police. At this point, the other 6 Karens had gotten the message and tell her to sit and finish the food. But as I said, I take these kind of disrespects very poorly, and my brain was already hyperventilating and unresponsive. I went to the owner and informed him what was going on, so please print me the bill. The owner knows me well. Okay, you've been screaming for almost an hour, made sure everyone at the restaurant had a bad dining experience. You guaranteed me I was getting fired for your lack of grey matter, and I'm done with your bull. Here's the bill. Finish your seconds. You have no right to coffee or dessert. It comes included in the menu. I want to see you on social media as promised, and when you do, I will pay your bill out of pocket. You have 5 minutes to leave, or I will personally go out on the street and get an officer here. I didn't hear a single word from that table and didn't even realize when they left. Unfortunately, there was never any complaint on social media. 4. I work at a pizzeria, and right now in my city, every fast food place is closed except ours and some Chinese food places. So we are getting orders from a lot of people on this one Friday evening, and I mean a lot of people. We end up having so much overload in our orders, even people who walk in the store and order at the counter end up having to wait up to 2 hours or even longer before they get their pizzas. I'm answering phone calls all evening from people who demand to know why their order has not arrived yet. And most people understand when I explain to them how overloaded we are, and the fact that we are not allowed to ask for extra workers for help, as there are strict regulations including a maximum amount of kitchen workers and delivery drivers at once. Some people, however, do not understand that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and below is a conversation that displays how desperately people need pizzas these days. I guess you've never heard of grocery shopping. Pizza, how may I help you?
Yes, I ordered a pizza about half an hour ago, but the app said it is still being made, which confuses me. Is there some technical problem?
Don't worry, sir. We are overwhelmed with orders at the moment, and are having trouble keeping up with the amount of demand we've got. Your order is still in the make line right now. I used caller ID to easily find his order, and I'm sorry to say it will take at least an hour for us to get it done, due to how overloaded we are. The current situation also prevents us from calling in extra help to get all these orders done faster. I'm truly sorry.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Then the wife, who probably snatched the phone from her husband, and is already in Super Karen mode.
Why is it so hard for you guys to make a bunch of pizzas and get them delivered in the amount of time your website promises us?
I'm a bit taken aback, but I keep my composure, and honestly, I've dealt with worse. I'm sorry, ma'am. As I just explained to your husband, we are currently over...
I don't care how busy you are. I paid for these pizzas and I expect you to do your job. If you cannot deliver within the time given on the site, you have at least to put out an orders or something.
Ma'am, if we were to send messages to everyone, then we would end up taking 3 times as long to get everything done, and it would be worse. Now, if you like, I
don't care. You are ruining my little girl's birthday. She requested pizza for her birthday. And you guys are the only ones still delivering. And now you are ruining it for her and us. It is almost bedtime for her, and she is still not eaten dinner.
I'm very sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am, but I honestly cannot do more than I already am. We are doing our best to get everything done as fast as possible, but would like to ask for your patience while we...
It is the 7th birthday you are ruining. Have you no heart?
I do have a heart, ma'am, but...
Then make our order now and have it here in 5 minutes. And add a free compensation to make up for the ruined birthday.
I cannot do that. It would be unfair for everyone else who's been waiting, just like you have.
Screw anyone else. This is a...
At this point, the line cut out on their side. They never called back, and they received their order an hour after that, which was still faster than some of the actually understandable people waiting. 5. For a bit of context, I'm a waitress at a mainstream seafood restaurant. While some of our plates are about $40, we've been doing these early bird specials that are around $15. As I always work the dinner shift, the first 2 hours of my shift always have some weirdos or questionable people who want a cheaper meal, but that's fine. I try to be kind and do well at my job. My section was in the bar, and I was in charge of 5 tables. It was a slow night, and I was hyped up on Red Bull, so when I went to greet NB, I might have been too friendly. Whenever someone sits alone, I try to be cheery and not judge them. This man was wearing shorts and a t-shirt of nearly the exact same color. While they were fairly clean, they were definitely worn down. Also, he hadn't shaved in a while, which actually I think looks worse despite the fact that his hair didn't even reach up past his chin. He was an older man and overweight, but he didn't smell, and so I guess I couldn't complain. He also had thinning hair that was graying, so I'm guessing he was around 40? I asked how he was doing, and he straight up told me he was having a bad day because of the wind. This threw me off. It wasn't that windy, but I just tried to smile and told him I was going to take good care of him. It's just part of our introduction. Instead of saying I'm your waiter, our managers say it's better to say I'll be taking care of you today, because a happy guest is more likely to spend more. I didn't think much of it, but that was when his melancholy demeanor changed. As I was trying to get his drink order, he was staring so very hard at my chest. He tried playing it off as he was looking at my name tag, but my name tag is blank. But whatever, maybe he had forgotten my name already, that's fine, and he could have been short-sighted. I get his drink, everything is going fine, and then I try to get his order. I still feel like he's staring at my chest, which is kind of funny because I always wear baggy clothes for this exact reason, so I know he couldn't even really see much of anything. But he's not saying anything weird yet. When I drop off his salad and drink refill and ask if he needs anything, he gets weird. No, I don't need anything. But you know, I'm so sorry. I didn't bring you anything. What? Your Valentine's Day gift. I always give pretty girls who are nice to me a gift. I just don't have anything in my car today. Oh no, you don't have to do that. There's these 2 girls I go see at a sports bar every week, and I always give them something. There was a Black Friday sale for those 2 Eternity roses, and it was buy 4, get 4. So now I have 8 roses and I'm going to give it to them next week. But if I knew you were going to be my waitress, I would have brought one. And a card. I have 16 Valentine's cards that I got at a Dollar Tree. Oh, I'm sure they'll appreciate that. That's nice of you to do that for them. I need to go check on something in the kitchen. I'm sure NB couldn't tell, but I had gone a bit pale. I just don't appreciate getting hit on. I took time in the kitchen, avoided his table a little bit, and then brought out his food. Our kitchen was being lame, and we had to wait on baked potatoes for 3 minutes. Avoided him until I had to bring out his potato, and asked him if he needed anything. I kept calling him sir just to be polite, and he told me he just wanted me to call him Steve. Once again, I started feeling a bit icky. I told him I wouldn't because I wanted to be polite and uphold the standards of my job. Well, you should just call me by my name. Since my mother died, I came back here, but, I just couldn't make any friends. Here, let me show you something. He pulls out his wallet and pulls out 2 photos to show me. Both of them are him posing with 2 different young girls not wearing much. He has a thing for brunettes, I guess. These are the girls I told you about. He's very excited, and I'm just feeling more uncomfortable. They're some great girls. I usually go there because of the $5 tacos or the half-boneless wings. But I came here because I wanted to try this out. I'm glad I did. I could only stutter that I needed to do something for one of my other tables, and I hoped he enjoyed his food. When I went back to the kitchen, I told the bartender that the man was giving me the creeps. Everyone at my job knows I'm jumpy, but the moment I told them about the pictures he keeps in his wallet, which weren't the most pristine and looked like he pulled them out often, the bartender even looked worried. I hate any sort of confrontation. If NB asked for my number and pressed me for it, I don't think I could say no. So we just gave my manager a heads up, and my manager told me to try and avoid NB as much as possible. Avoiding him was good, I think. At the end, though, he pestered me, asking all these useless questions. How does this app work? How do the Prestos work? Why isn't my card working? He had to use his chip and kept swiping it, etc. He was eating up a lot of my time, and I felt like he was purposely trying to keep me at his table. He told me he works at Dell, which I don't really believe. Said how he was a computer whiz and would give me amazing discounts if I wanted. I rejected his offer and said I had built my own PC, so I was good. This soured him a little. And then he asked if I liked ULTA. All I said was, sure. Then he started mentioning how the food wasn't that great, blah blah blah. Well, I gave you an 18% tip. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I usually don't give more than 15%, but I always give the girls something extra. I'm sorry I didn't have anything for you today, but I'm going to come back next week and give you your gift. You don't need to give me anything, sir. No, I do. You've been so kind. And I just told you how I have all this stuff to give other people. I'll be back next week, I promise. I just nodded my head, too flabbergasted to say anything. Obviously, my refusals weren't reaching him, and really, I don't want a creepy card from him. I'd rather have the $3 he left me as a tip. I just went into the kitchen, and since he had paid, I didn't go back to his table at all. After 10 minutes of him sitting there and me pretending like I couldn't see him, and the bartender now asking if he needed help, he could just ask them. The NB left. It was only when he was gone that I relaxed, and I hadn't even realized how tense I was. Everyone could see a change in me because they said I looked pale and sick. One of my other tables left me a very generous tip and told me I deserved it, and while it may be because I give excellent service, I think it was because they were all women and could tell I wasn't having the best time with NB being my guest. Plus, I wouldn't be surprised if he was obviously checking me out when I walked away, considering his blatant staring at my chest. I really hope he doesn't come back next week. He knows my name for sure, because at the end he would just call me by my name, saying things like, "Thank you, OP," or "OP, come here, I have something to ask you," etc. I guess this is what neckbeards turn into. Hey everybody, Hal Freezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates number 90. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories and sent in stories for use in this video. If you yourself have a story, you can send it along to kingofthecities@gmail.com. Right, there we go. I should probably get to bed soon. It's currently 10 minutes past 6 on a Friday morning. Well, that's the way I wanted to get my audio recorded. I have groceries allegedly coming later today, and so we'll see what arrives. I have to make sure I'm up in time for that, so this might not be a super sleepy day for me. Got done recording just in time. The birds are starting to chirp. Fair enough. Okay, this will be Saturday. This goes up. Stream-wise this weekend, it will either be Saturday or Sunday. I haven't decided what day yet. Yeah, just be when the mood takes me, really. usually the best way to do it. Instead of making myself do it on a certain day, just do it whenever I feel. Okay, I think I'm going to go for now. I've got editing to do, or possibly sleeping. If I could figure out how to edit while I sleep. Although I might watch another one of those Tiger King things. I don't know why I keep watching it, but it seems to appeal to me as if I'm slightly tired. Not so much if I'm fully awake, but it seems to be very enjoyable if I'm slightly tired. So that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.